Welcome to Red Eye. Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Shillue. Let's check in with TV's Andy Levy to see what exciting stories we'll be discussing this evening. Andy?
Thanks, Tom. Coming up on the big show, Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry gives us an update from New Hampshire. This is going to be a shock for him because our booker told him this was for the Kelly file.
Oh.
Plus, a college burlesque society is forced to change their rules to increase diversity. A modest proposal. Change your rules to do something more interesting than a burlesque show. And finally, former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright says there's a special place in hell for women who don't support Hillary. Good news, Tom, you're going to have plenty of female company. Back to you, Lucifer.
Thank you, Andy. Let's welcome our guests. The star reporter to the stars, entertainment and lifestyle expert Jill Dobson. Never hit a man with glasses, but feel free to hit on the woman with glasses, reporter for the National Review and Fox News contributor Katherine Timpf. He needs a new headshot. His last photo was a blurry image of him running through the woods. Giant comedian Ben Kissel. And she's hot, married a snowboarder, starred on MTV, and hosts an irreverent show. Typical boring Republican. Sitting right next to me is host of Kennedy on the Fox Business Network. Kennedy. Okay, let's start the show. By the time this show airs, the first results from the New Hampshire primary will be in, thanks to the tiny town of Dixville Notch and a couple of others, where voters cast their ballots at midnight. Joining us now from the Granite State to give us a preview of how things are shaping up is Fox News Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry. Ed, thanks for coming on Red Eye.
Wait, is this Megan? This is not Megan. I thought it, wait, is this, this is not the Kelly file?
I'm sorry to disappoint you,
Wait,
Ed.
I've been tricked.
It's the only way we can get high-quality guests on our show. Sounds like a lot's going on there.
Excited.
I want to ask you, Ed, about the current supposed shakeup in the Hillary Clinton campaign. Is it happening? Is it not? They're denying it. What's going on?
Well, they're trying to shoot it down. Politico is basically saying that both Bill and Hillary Clinton are frustrated with the message coming out of the campaign. That part sounds true because nobody could be happy with the way this campaign has gone so far. But the message more broadly from the Clinton folks has been for days now, look, we've got to get past New Hampshire. We'll go down south. The African-American vote will help Hillary Clinton down there, and everything will be great. And so to leak this story out, somebody in the Democratic Party leaking it out right before the New Hampshire primary sounds disastrous for her. They're denying that there'll be a shakeup after New Hampshire, which she's expected to lose. But look, I've been on the campaign trail a long time. Democrats, Republicans, when they deny there's going to be a shakeup, pretty soon after that, there's a shakeup.
Well, look at this. David Axelrod said he appears to be blaming the Clintons. He said, at what point do the principals say, hey, maybe it's us?
Yeah, because look, this same thing happened in 2008 where Hillary Clinton was the inevitable nominee and then it didn't happen and there was finger pointing and there were, controversial comments from Bill Clinton. There were staff shakeups. The same deal is playing out again, and I think that's David Axelrod's point. Maybe he has an axe to grind, literally an axe to grind, Axelrod, sorry, because he's an Obama guy and they beat Clinton in 08. But the bottom line is the same deal is playing out yet again with a whole new set of circumstances, and Hillary Clinton is still struggling to seal the deal, and I think that's why Axelrod is aptly noting maybe the problem is the candidate, not the message, not the staff.
Well, obviously, we've got Bernie doing well in Iowa, and it looks like he's going to win New Hampshire. But like you were saying, they seem to have a firewall. When Super Tuesday comes, Hillary is on pretty solid ground, is she not? So maybe she doesn't have anything to worry about.
Look, she definitely has an advantage in poll after poll with the African-American vote, which will be critical in the South. So it appears to be a firewall, but I underline the word appears because, as you know, in politics, momentum can be everything. And if Bernie Sanders not only wins New Hampshire, but wins it big, and all of a sudden the money keeps pouring in over the internet, as we've seen, and the national media narrative continues to be these doubts for Hillary Clinton, these poll numbers down South can change in a heartbeat.
Okay, Ed, I want to ask you, if I could, about the Republicans. Rubio is getting all sorts of bad press for his performance on the debate stage. But, is that just a lot of talking heads, or are people on the street in New Hampshire feeling like it's affecting him?
Tom, that's just a bunch of stuff from talking heads. Tom, that's just a bunch of stuff from talking heads. Tom, That's just a bunch of stuff from Talking Heads.
Come on, Ed, do you think his...
That's just a bunch... Oh, sorry.
Politicians all repeat themselves over and over. So is this going to help Rubio? He's just reminding people that he's no Barack Obama, right or wrong.
Right. Look, he definitely looked programmed, and I was joking a little bit about that. But his staff points out he raised more money over the internet in the 24 hours after that disastrous, pre-programmed moment. He raised more money, and I'm here on the ground, obviously, in New Hampshire, and on Sunday, the morning after that debate, all of Marco Rubio's events were standing room only, big crowds. So it didn't turn off voters in New Hampshire, at least in the initial hours and day or so. Will it impact? I mean, when we see the vote, we'll see. But I think sometimes these things end up getting blown up so big by us in the media and by critics on social media, and then sometimes the voters simply don't care. So we'll find out.
Thanks a lot, Ed. We're going to go to the panel. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for talking over that noisy crowd.
Bernie Sanders rally, that's right.
Thanks, Ed. Okay, let's talk about this. What do we think, Kennedy? You heard all those salient points I made with Ed Henry. Do you think Rubio is in as big a trouble as people say?
It's interesting because I was in New Hampshire this weekend and I heard two vastly different things on Sunday from establishment Republicans. You heard, hey, but you know what? Rubio had a great second half of the debate. And if people still tuned in for that, they would have actually seen a pretty good performance. And if they didn't see the Chris Christie exchange, he's fine. And then you had pretty much everyone else in the world saying Rubio may have been mortally wounded by that because Christie pinned him down and he didn't seem to have an answer for it. And I think that is the most critical line of attack against him, which is he's not ready. He's lightweight. He's the boy in the bubble.
Yeah.
And Christie went for it and drew blood.
Yes. Interesting, right? Okay, Ben, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's getting hammered for saying the same thing over and over, but I feel like the audience appreciated what he was saying. Let's look at that clip.
And let's dispel once and for all with this fiction that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. Barack Obama is undertaking a systematic effort to change this country, to make America more like the rest of the world. Let's dispel with this fiction that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. He is trying to change this country. He wants America to become more like the rest of the world.
You can't argue with that, Ben, right? They love him.
Yeah, and there's no arguing with evidence like that. That's for certain. No, but I think there's a writer on the Red Eye staff going through a similar thing. I've been called Sasquatch before with the blurry picture joke.
Wait a minute.
I remember every insult that's been thrown my way since I was 7 years old.
Okay, you were called Sasquatch,
Yes.
but were you called Bigfoot?
Maybe a Yeti. Well, you're getting there. You got one more coming. Rubio is totally fine. Where else are they going to go? Where is his supporters going to go? Kasich is okay, but he constantly looks like he's about to, he's trying to get water out of a boat with the way he moves his hands. And Jeb, I mean, in order to get the youth vote, yeah, this is what he does. And Jeb is trying to get the youth vote by bringing out his 90-year-old mother, which is terrible. It's elder abuse. Jeb Bush is acting like Ben Stiller's character from Happy Gilmore, who worked at the retirement.
Warm glass of shut the hell up.
That's right. And, I mean, Barbara Bush is just like, let me out of here. She doesn't want to be campaigning for Jeb. So Rubio is fine because the other people that he's competing against are terrible.
I don't know, Kat. I think young people love Jeb Bush. He's a breath of fresh something, isn't he?
I think he's so cute in the way that, like, if you see a puppy with 3 legs and you're like, no, you're not gonna run faster than the other puppies. But I thought I thought Rubio looked like an idiot, actually.
What?
Because he was repeating, all politicians use talking points.
Yes.
But it's points.
Hey,
he
Chris
should have
Christie,
had at least 2 points.
How many times does Christie say, I was a prosecutor, I was a prosecutor?
Well, you know what? But he's big, and I don't know why that matters, but I'm positive that it does. And also, do you know what he was saying? He was basically saying he's supposed to be the moderate dude, and he's basically saying that Obama's involved in the secret conspiracy to destroy the country, which, is obviously true, but
exactly.
maybe not moderate.
Look, Jill, give me your take on that debate. I think it's all about messaging. The media turns people into superstars. They made Rubio a superstar because he came in third, and then they want to pull him down.
It's true. It's true. Ever since JFK, right? If you look good on camera, you end up
winning your debates. I think I'm very jealous of the people in New Hampshire because they get all this one-on-one time, and it seems like everyone in the state gets to meet the candidates. I've only gotten to meet one candidate, and therefore this has been a very challenging time for me.
Really?
Yes.
Who did you meet?
I once met Donald Trump. He likes me about as much as he likes Megyn Kelly. He was not a fan of Jill Dobson.
Really?
Okay, I will say this in the debate to your JFK point. In this debate, unfortunately, Rubio was Nixon. And the thing that I will say about Rubio's talking point is the president's not going to be president much longer. He doesn't really have to run against the president. He can run against Hillary Clinton. He can run against socialism. There are a number of things where he can use that pre-manufactured point over and over and over again to, fill out the larger picture. He didn't do that. He also didn't anticipate Christie, and I think that bad debating skills.
Yeah,
not a master debater, that Rubio.
Not a master debater. Okay, next story. There's a war on women, and it's being led by Hillary Clinton. On HBO's Real Time, feminist icon and Hillary supporter Gloria Steinem was asked why young women are voting for Bernie Sanders. Steinem has an interesting theory.
When you're young, you're thinking, where are the boys? The boys are with Bernie, or,
Ooh. Now, if I said that. No. Yeah, they're for Bernie because that's where the boys are.
But it's
swap
not.
me. Come on.
No, I wouldn't.
And those hormonal Sanders supporters better step in line with their female elders or face God's wrath. Madeleine Albright issued a warning to any gal that thinks of going against Hillary.
Just remember, there's a special place in hell for women who don't help each other.
On Meet the Press, Clinton was asked if she understood why some people were offended by her surrogate's threat of eternal damnation. Here's how she responded.
Good grief, we're getting offended about everything these days. Honest to goodness. I mean, people can't say anything without offending somebody.
Yeah! Elect Hillary so we can stomp out political correctness once and for all. Right, Kat?
I hate Hillary Clinton.
What?
Whoa. I hate her so much. No, I do. Seriously. Madeleine Albright says that. She's going, ah! You see that face? That. But you know what? Who has helped women less than Hillary Clinton, right? So then she's got a special place in hell, too, for what she did to all the women that accused her husband of sexual assault. Boom. You better watch it. I would rather go to hell a million times over than ever vote for that horrible, 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 horrible woman. Boo.
Wow. Kennedy?
Couple of things here.
Yeah.
Number one, if hell is reserved for women who don't help each other, then it's reserved for Hillary Clinton because she certainly didn't help the women who worked in her Senate office where she paid them 76 cents on the dollar compared to the men who worked.
I pay
there.
77. Do you know that's my rate?
And that's why you've got an employee of the quarter, 2 quarters in a row here at Fox. And congratulations. A lot of envy at this table. Also, a lot of love and compassion. No, she's so far off base. And that's why you're hearing rumblings from Hillary Clinton's campaign, because that's what we're talking about. Today is a very important day because Dick's Notch, or whatever it's called, they're voting. And they've begun voting in New Hampshire already.
Yeah, there's like how many? There's like 28 of them.
Wait, that was a real place?
Yes.
And this incredibly important day. We're talking about Gloria Steinem and Madeleine Albright and their outdated, putrid, moldy, rancid message that does not resonate with young women.
Wow.
They're very old.
Yeah, Ben, you're a man.
Oh, am I?
But I want to ask you, why aren't women marching in lockstep like Hillary wants them to? And is that an argument against women in the military?
Girls? No. Madeleine Albright, she knows all about the different locations of hell because she goes there at night to sleep. She looks like the devil's wife. I mean, good God. But that's just a joke about her physical appearance and her age.
That's all right. It's not beneath you.
Lena Dunham says that's sexist.
We're better than that, Ben.
It's okay.
We're not.
I'm actually technically not better than that. That was one of my better moments. It's very interesting. I had no idea the whole notion that girls pursued boys. I didn't know that they did that.
Yeah.
So,
otherwise,
why not?
Brainless hormonal slut.
But that's right. Look, they started this thing with the Bernie Bros, right? And so maybe the women are out there because of the guys. I mean, I would join a campaign if there was hot girls hanging around it, right?
Okay, here's the thing. I'm in my 30s. I don't know any young people. Gloria Steinem, I believe, is 81. So she's just trying to guess why the young people are supporting Bernie.
Yeah.
I say maybe go out and ask some. Don't just assume it's because the girls are chasing the cute boys.
But
that are Bernie
she did
Sanders
want
supporters.
Are there tons of hot men men running around
for
Bernie
that comment
Sanders?
because she realized that it was so offensive and so anti-feminist.
Yeah.
I mean, it runs counter to what feminism is supposed to be. And they just can't grasp that. And that's why that line of thinking is so incredibly authoritarian and narrow and awful. And if anyone is telling you what to think and who to vote for based on a very narrow criterion, turn the other way.
Turn
and vote
the
for
other
Gary
way.
Johnson, by God.
There you go. Okay, now it's time for... Pro-choice advocacy group NARAL unleashed a torrent of outrage directed at last night's Super Bowl commercials. The group announced it would live tweet the game to call out any sexist advertisers, which apparently is all of them. Take this seemingly innocuous ad from Hyundai.
Yeah.
Hey! See the guy taking my little girl out, huh?
Yep.
Huh. You know, why don't you go ahead and take my new car?
Thanks, Pops.
Go ahead, baby.
Favorite spot? Favorite girl.
Are you ready? Hey, are you ready for this? You messing with the wrong daddy!
Seems fine, right? Wrong. NARAL says, hey, Hyundai, taking away your daughter's autonomy and stalking her on a date isn't funny. Yeah, Hyundai, you should care about the teenager's feelings instead of appealing to the parents that actually buy cars. Let's see another terrible ad.
And there's your beautiful baby. Any day now.
Really? You're eating Doritos? He's eating Doritos on my ultrasound. Do you see what I have to do?
I know.
Give me that.
Beautiful. NARAL says, not buying it. That Doritos ad using anti-choice tactic of humanizing fetuses and sexist tropes of dads as clueless and moms as uptight. Hashtag SB50. It must be the Super Bowl, right? Yes, how dare they humanize a tiny human. Oh, boy, Kennedy, look.
I love that one especially. Like, how dare you humanize a human fetus? I mean, that is just inappropriate, offensive, and sexist. They should have used hashtag BS50. That was a lot of hot malarkey they were tweeting. Just trolls. I mean, I have to give them the slow clap for trolling because that was a well
Do you think
done.
it was like a president of NARAL, or did they send some intern out to do that? It seemed like they were complaining about every single ad.
Oh, no, I think that it was a top-notch executive because they really have the cream of the crop working there.
Yeah, look, Jill, you know entertainment. What is wrong with Kevin Hart doing that great old-fashioned technique of following your daughter on a date?
That's what's wrong with it. It's kind of an old-fashioned idea. It's not an original idea, like, oh, an overprotective dad.
Yeah.
That's the only thing wrong with the ad. I don't think there's any other reason to get all up in arms, as you know.
It's just hacky. It's been done before.
Right, exactly. And then the Doritos thing, the one offensive thing, maybe someone could have caught the baby when it was born. They all, like, looked to the floor. Like,
oh, yeah.
I didn't like that part. I would have liked someone to have caught the baby when it was born.
See, interesting.
There's probably a laundry basket with some used scrubs underneath.
Yeah.
And
Well, so it's not a real baby.
But yeah, the thing is, Kat, that would be humanizing the baby if you
That didn't
actually,
really
if you
happen,
took care.
actually.
It didn't?
No, well, you know what? This group, they started out the night by saying, follow us to see all the sexist stuff. So they were looking for it on purpose.
Yeah.
They were looking to be offended because, you know, look, I don't love the Super Bowl. I get that it's kind of boring, but you can always find something else to do. I ate a bunch of nachos, ate a bunch of pizza. I actually couldn't sleep, though, because I was, like, so sick, and then I was thirsty, and I couldn't drink water because there was no room, but I will take a lack of self-control over being emotionally disturbed any day.
Well, you couldn't control yourself with the nachos.
I
so
said
why,
I had
how
no
could a fetus?
self-control, but at least I wasn't emotionally disturbed.
Yeah.
Self-control sometimes gets in the way of a good time.
I agree with that.
Well, there were complaints on the other side.
That's right.
People were offended by the ad. Some people who found it offensive that they were taking a fetus lightly, and other people were offended that it was treated.
Fetuses are serious.
They're very serious, and I think they should have used Cooler Ranch. It's a much better Dorito.
That's true.
You know what? I will say this: if you're offending both sides of the abortion argument with one commercial, that is winning.
That is winning. Coming up, is there anything liberal professors and I can agree on? You bet. Find out what it is after the break. A group of historians is trying to convince the Supreme Court that laws crafted to protect women often have the opposite effect. Duh! That's a legal term, meaning appearing to express the obvious. The case before the court is Whole Women's Health v. Hellerstadt. The case deals with Texas lawmakers' approval of new restrictions on abortion providers in the name of safeguarding women's health. I don't want to talk about that case. I want to talk about this brief. It argues any new law that claims to protect women's health and safety should be scrutinized carefully to assess whether its ostensibly protective function actually serves to deny liberty and equal citizenship to women. Point taken, liberal professors. Where have we heard this logic before? From conservatives? All legislation that is designed to help a certain group of people ends up restricting their liberty and denying their equal citizenship. You're just catching on to this? Have you looked at the negative effects of minimum wage laws, professors? How about the fact that the welfare state creates generational dependence, professors? Or how regulating big business hurts employees more than the companies, professors? Oh, enough with this professor stuff. When lawmakers try to protect people, they almost always hurt them. Why don't these historians look at history when assessing their beloved liberal laws? That would be too consistent. Kennedy, did you get my reference to the Philadelphia story in there? Professor?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah. That's the one with Tom Hanks, right? Remember when he got all skinny?
It was Katherine Hepburn. She keeps calling Jimmy Stewart professor over and over.
Why wouldn't you?
Anyway, listen. Kennedy, the laws, these have unintended consequences.
That's
Are liberals just catching on to this?
absolutely right. They're only catching on to it when it suits them. But that's why lovers of liberty and constitutionalists realize that when you over-legislate, when you over-regulate, it is the unintended consequences that you did not have the foresight to stop in the first place. And that is what hamstrings economies and individuals, and that is an outrage.
And maybe it will bring us all together if we all just realize this, Ben Kissel. How about no more laws? That's the problem, isn't it?
Get rid of all the laws. That's what I am for.
I say it half-jokingly.
The vast majority of laws are absolutely ridiculous, and they actually lead to people losing more freedoms and having less, mobility and the ability to go out and do things.
There you go.
So all these laws that are written to protect women, ironically enough, shackle them to whatever position they are currently at in life. So I think that's sad.
So why not, Kat? These professors of history are using examples of history to show that these laws actually hinder women. Why can't they do that with the economy? Why don't they read a little Milton Friedman?
Because they don't want to.
Isn't that it?
I really think it's just that. I don't think they want to. It's all about the whole social justice-y thing and it's hurting women, but everything hurts. I'm hurt because I'm not allowed to smoke my e-cig indoors in New York City.
Wait a minute.
I'm less happy.
Second block, and this is the first reference to e-cigs from Katherine Timpf.
Yeah, well, the thing is I'm always thinking about it. I never knew what love was, and now I do. And I found love, and they're taking it away from me indoors. That's
amazing.
not helping me. I don't care if I get popcorn lung or whatever.
Sounds delicious.
Popcorn lung, first of all, I believe it's a lie. Second of all, if I find, Ben, popcorn lung's a lie.
Okay.
And even if it's not, I'd rather go out knowing that I lived a life full of love.
There it is.
Oh my goodness.
Beautiful.
With that logic, Jill, why don't we all just
I've got
take up
nothing to add.
regular cigarettes?
E-cigs.
Got nothing to add.
Regular cigs are gross.
What's your take on this, though, Jill? I mean, in a general sense, don't you think that most laws end up causing more problems than they solve?
I do. Ever since I was in Michigan Youth and Government as a teenager.
I did youth legislature. Youth and government's amazing through the YMCA.
It is amazing.
It's awesome. Yay,
But
Jill Dobson.
We went to the state capitol, we took over, we wrote laws all day, every day, and I'm like, wait, they write laws all day, every day?
Yeah.
Could we possibly need that many laws that they're written all day, every day? It's been bothering me since I was about 13
And she makes a good point because every politician that's running for president now, and it doesn't matter if they're in the establishment or in the outside lane, they all think that they're going to use government to solve people's problems.
Yes.
No one's talking about actually reducing government. What about the idea of not only having a moratorium on laws, but if you're going to pass new laws, you have to repeal
Get rid of them.
10 more.
Like that, exactly. Like halftime with TV's Andy Levy after the break. See that?
Yeah.
Wow. Perfect.
Welcome back. This is the time we find out what we got wrong and what we may have missed. From TV's Andy Levy at the Red Eye News Deck. Andy, I hope you're there.
I'm here, Tom. Tom,
Yes.
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. New Hampshire primary. So nice job with Ed Henry there, Tom.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
I almost felt like a real reporter.
Yeah, no, you weren't. Ed was.
He's the reporter.
I think Ed kind of showed what a real reporter.
Those people are so good at what they do, Andy.
People,
yeah,
really?
They can stand there in a
Really?
noisy room and they can just talk, Andy.
I know, it's amazing. Yeah. He did one thing. He said that both you were talking about the possible campaign, the staff shakeup.
Yeah.
For Hillary. And, you know, he said that the reports are that both Bill and Hillary are unhappy with the message that's coming out of the campaign. And then you brought up the Axelrod quote, and he also suggested that maybe it's the candidate, not the staff.
Yeah.
I just don't see how that's possible.
How could it be?
No.
I mean, she's so good at what she does, right?
It's just, it reeks of sexism to suggest such a thing. Hey, that reminds me, you know, Carl Cameron, his nickname, of course, famously is Campaign Carl.
Campaign Carl, yeah.
Ed Henry's out there on the trail, working it every day, busting his butt, and he doesn't have a nickname.
No nickname.
Yeah.
You're right.
Doesn't seem fair.
We should think of a nickname for Ed Henry.
I like it.
Yeah? What do you think, Andy? Any,
I have some ideas. I don't know if you want to hear them or if...
Let's put it out there, Andy. Hashtag Campaign Carl.
All right.
And then our fans, I want you to come up with a name for Ed Henry. What's your first choice for Ed Henry? I know you got some in your head.
Me?
Yeah.
I think Election Ed.
Election Ed. Yeah. Okay, that's an obvious one.
Yeah.
I mean.
Wow.
That's good. No, Andy, that's a great.
Yeah.
It's a great name.
It's the obvious one that you didn't think of.
I know, Andy. Well, let's see if our Red Eye fans hashtag Campaign Carl. And then put Ed Henry's campaign name in there.
All right. Sounds good. They should tweet that at Red Eye FNC.
Yes.
Yes.
Certainly not at me. I want to make that very clear.
Okay.
All right, Tommy. You know what? I'll get to you because I want to get the panel involved. Kennedy, you said you guys were talking about Rubio's little thing where he repeated the same thing over and over and over. Hi, Kennedy. Hi. Always a pleasure. Yes. You said you heard from some establishment Republicans who told you, hey, Rubio actually had a great second half of the debate.
Yeah.
I thought that was true.
So do they.
Did you not think he had a great second half of the debate?
No, I thought he actually had a very competent second half of the debate. I think they were wishfully hoping, wishing and hoping, as it were, that people would only focus on the second half.
Right, well, that was never going to happen.
You know, that's like focusing on the second half of the play that Abraham Lincoln was watching.
Yeah. Too soon.
Too soon. Apologize. I'll send a note to Mary Todd.
Kat, I don't think Rubio was saying, as you seem to suggest he was, that Obama is involved in a secret conspiracy to destroy the country. And I've been instructed to say that if that is what he was saying, he is completely crazy and wrong.
That is what he was saying.
Again, I have been instructed to say that that is completely crazy and wrong.
Well, I guess you just called Rubio some names.
Tom, in defending Rubio's debate performance, you said, well, politicians repeat themselves all the time.
Yeah.
The problem isn't that he repeated his talking point. It's that, first of all, he did it verbatim. And it's it's not one sentence. It's not even Christie saying, I was a federal prosecutor, where you're like, okay, shut up. But it was like a paragraph worth that he repeated word for word.
Yeah.
And he didn't seem to, like, he didn't recognize that that's what he was doing. That was the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta shake it up. Like if Christie's gonna hammer him on that, then your comeback should be, well, you can hammer me on that all you want, but the fact remains, and then say your talking point. He didn't do that. He just launched right back into it.
I think that some of these politicians, they say the same thing at every stump speech over and over, that they forget that they, you know, like when you have several shows a night, you ever do this? You're on your third stand-up show, and you're like, have I already done this material? You don't know if you've done it before. You can't remember.
Yeah, and then you got to repeat yourself a whole bunch, and it turns into a night full of alcohol.
Turns into. That's
It turns into it.
Yeah.
It starts that way, too.
Yeah.
All right, Hillary's war on women. First of all, as a ninth wave feminist, I have to give props to my second wave sister, Gloria Steinem.
Oh, she's only second?
She is.
That's right.
That's what she is.
She's
Betty Friedan is first wave.
No, she's also
No,
second.
she's actually negative second wave.
They're
Betty
both
Friedan.
second wave feminists. Be quiet. woman.
Wow.
Why? Because they didn't knit the original American flag?
No, because they weren't from the late 19th century, early 20th.
The temperance movement. Actually, you don't know that they weren't from the 1930s.
Well, all right.
A lot of mysteries.
Wiki.
Kennedy, you said if there's a special place in hell for women who don't help women, then there's a place for Hillary for paying her female Senate office staffer 76 cents to every dollar she paid the men.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't do as good a job.
Probably
I'm just
not. You
putting
know,
it out
those lazy broads with their hormones.
Yeah.
You just ask Gloria Steinem. They can't. They're only in Washington for the boys. They're not there to make hope and change.
Just looking to shack up and have some kitties. Ben, lovely joke about Madeleine Albright's appearance.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I got a lot of flack during the commercial break.
Might have meant more if it hadn't been coming from Sasquatch, but you know, whatever.
Well, see, now that's the third time and it's done. I've been called a Yeti, a Sasquatch, and whatever the other one is. Bigfoot.
Yeah. Which one do you prefer?
Sasquatch.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
That's fine. I think Madeline can handle it.
All right.
She can squash me like a bug if she wants.
Okay. Narelle doesn't like the Super Bowl ads. The two best Narelle tweets, by the way, they retweeted the account for the IFC show Portlandia, saying there's no halftime in the fight for women's rights. I guess they don't know that Portlandia kind of satirizes stuff like that.
Yeah.
Seriously. I thought that was fun. Last story was something about laws Tom doesn't like, so he pretends they're bad for women. I really wasn't paying attention or something like that. Tom, you said, quote, when lawmakers try to protect people, they almost always hurt them, unquote.
There you go.
So I assume you're opposed to the Texas law in question here, the one that, as you said, imposes new restrictions on abortion providers in the name of safeguarding women's health.
I am, and I'll tell you why. And I didn't want to get into the weeds of this bill, but I prefer if they're fighting, laws for fetuses, they should go ahead and say that they're protecting fetuses, not that they're protecting women's health, because we all know that's what they're doing.
All right. Kennedy, you talked about the unforeseen consequences of laws that are aimed at helping people.
Yes.
Don't you think most of those consequences are actually foreseen, just usually by the people who oppose the laws?
That's a good point, but they're not the ones who put the legislation forward.
Right, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that vocal and emotional people who either influence or craft the legislation, they're the ones who refuse to use logic and employ foresight.
Yeah, it's just a lot of time you hear it talk about, whoa, those consequences were unforeseen, and you look back and you're like, no, a lot of people were saying that's exactly
Yeah, they were right. But anyone who foresees the consequences is portrayed as a Cassandra.
Yes. Oh, I have to go.
Thanks, Andy. Time to take a break. An inclusive burlesque show when we come back. Can't wait. A burlesque society at Northwestern University had to change its policies after students complained about the lack of diversity in the cast. Everyone who tries out is guaranteed a part in the show. Of course, it's college, but only a few are selected for solos. When the group released the list of names of the students who got solos, some claimed their safe spaces were violated. There were no photos of the cast released or any other information other than their names, but apparently that was enough to infringe on the sacred safe space. Even though the group agreed to make changes, one of the directors fired back at the complaints, saying, people are upset because they don't think we have diversity in our small groups, but they don't know the people who got solos. All they see is a name, so they might have made an assumption based on those names. That's a no-no. The story was picked up across the country, including by the National Review, where star reporter Katherine Timpf opined,
I personally have a terrible singing voice and always got stuck being a non-singing narrator or lip-syncing chorus member in school musicals. It was definitely a bummer.
You made that hard for me, Katherine.
Yeah, did I do a great job or what?
I should not.
I finally got a solo and it's on TV.
Right. Katherine,
yes.
Look, that was a good article you wrote, even
Thank
though you
you.
were just mean to me being a lip syncer. Do you have anything to add? What did you learn about the American college experience in writing this article?
Barf. That's what I learned. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So yeah, let's give them all a solo at once, and then it's just a chorus, right? Then there's just no solos. Not everybody gets a solo. Charlotte's Web, I had to be the narrator, and I had to narrate Charlotte's death.
Isn't that fun?
Which was very strange for me to do because of course it was. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. But you know what? Some people are better than others at stuff. People need to know, you know what? You didn't get a solo because you're not as good. They're whining, oh, it's not diverse enough. There's not enough fat people with solos. Well, you know what? Maybe they weren't as good. And just because you're fat doesn't mean you should get something.
Okay, well, you know
Timpf
what?
2020.
Timpf, don't say you didn't get a solo in college when you were the narrator for Charlotte's Web. That is a great role.
This was in high school. It was not a great role because...
It was a great role.
It wasn't a great role.
I saw Liev Schreiber do it, and he tore it apart. Kennedy, what do you think of this?
It's a burlesque show. I mean, aren't we supposed to be giving roles? First of all, I was super opposed to Kollege over the last year, but now I've completely done a 180, and I love Kollege because these stories are so fantastic and entertaining. Right. I want more and more and more. Like the Kollege where they said that Adele's song "Hello" was offensive because it encouraged stalking.
Yes.
And it was somehow sexual harassment that she called her lover 1,000 times. And now those people are like, ooh, we didn't get solos. So they're saying that no one is turned down for a role. So what, there's 700 people in this burlesque show, and there's like maybe 4 people in the audience, and that's just because they were the homeless who wandered in off the street into the safe space of the auditorium.
Quick point. We gotta go.
Leave Adele alone, number 1. Number 2, I was typecast when I was 6 years old. My first community theater play of all time. I was cast as a tree.
Oh, I know.
So that's kind of exciting.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you're still a tree.
I would still be cast as a tree.
And you
could have
grew
been
up
in
to
Lord
be
of
a
the
better
Rings.
tree. We'll close things out with a bedtime story.
Mary and Pippa could have
No Red Eye tomorrow because of the New Hampshire primary. Sorry. We'll be back Wednesday with John DeVore, John Podhoretz, and Matt Welch. The nominees are all white, but the swag is pure gold. The contents of the Oscars gift bags were announced, and each lucky recipient will take home $200,000 worth of free stuff. Wow. The bags, given to nominees in the main acting and directing categories, contain dozens of items. Some include a 10-day first-class trip to Israel worth $55,000, a year's worth of unlimited Audi car rentals, $45,000, a 15-day walking tour of Japan, $45,000, a lifetime supply of skin creams, $31,000, and a vampire breast lift, valued at $1,900.
No, thank you.
Wow, I don't even know what a vampire breast lift is.
Luckily for you, I studied up.
Jill, tell me.
Somehow it uses one's own blood to create a more rounding effect in the cleavage area.
Wow, one's own blood? That doesn't sound like a vampire.
Yeah, big blood bag boobs.
That's great.
The vampire takes someone else's blood, right?
Well, you know, I'm sorry. They came up with the sexiest name they could for it. We'll take your blood and put it in your chest.
Well, it's a lot cheaper than a walking tour in Japan. I would totally get that, especially if they had leech therapy that just...
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you had gigantic melon.
Well, why do you think Japan and why do you think Israel?
Oh, 2 of our allies and friends. The cherry blossoms, lovely this time of year.
Yes.
You know, don't take your roller skates, just walk. It's a great tour.
But don't
Arigato, Tom.
Don't these holiday people, the Hollywood folks, they have plenty of skin creams.
They already got enough stuff. They don't need any more stuff. I need the vampire boobs.
Yeah, come on.
I think I already got them.
At first, I thought everyone gets these. It's terribly expensive, but it's only
you
the
know
top.
that everybody got the vampire breast.
No,
lift.
I thought everyone get these gift bags, but then it's only the top dogs who get this. So of course the companies want them to have free Audi rentals. I mean, we're talking about Denzel Washington.
It's hypocritical. They're going to be on stage just talking about how much they love Bernie Sanders and giving to the poor, and everyone should get something, and they're going to be going home with $200,000 worth of goods. It's like when Chris Christie talks about how marijuana is unhealthy and we need to ban it, even though his cholesterol is higher than Snoop Dogg.
Chowder.
That's the second slam at Christie during this show.
I am desperately trying to get him out of the race.
Oh my gosh.
We'll
what do we
see
got? How much time we got now?
We will.
40 seconds. Okay, I want to go
wait,
back to
I
you,
have one
Jill.
more
Tell me
idea.
some more Hollywood expertise.
So obviously people get upset about this, but the idea is, of course, if you can get Leonardo photographed taking a walking tour of your
With
country,
vampire
then
boobs.
that's better PR for your country. It's worth the money to do it because it ends up being good advertisement for the people who give these gifts to the celebrities. And I'm very organized, so I'd like to give a free closet reorganization to all these celebrities.
Fantastic.
And I'm going to donate all their designer gowns to a very
Beautiful.
worthy charity named Jill Dobson.
Jill Dobson, Kat Timpf, Ben Kissel, and Kennedy. That does it for me. I'm Tom Shillue. I'll see you next time. I got to go buy a beer for a certain quarterback.